Okay, we'll go to Stefan first, and then we'll go to Andy.
Coach, I saw you guys huddle up there at midcourt following the game. I guess what was the message there after the game, and what was it like, I guess, getting to coach this team for the first time in action?
Every day gets a little bit better, just in terms of how we're practicing, how we're communicating, what our intent is as a coaching staff, what their intent is as players. And so we always want to huddle up in that center circle and give one final message. I don't know if there was anything spectacular to it other than it's a start. And then win or lose, we're going to put our hands in together and we're going to say together we attack. And they had some family and friends around, and I wanted them to be able to go out and talk to them and enjoy themselves without having to go to a locker room and wait for 20 minutes for a coach to yell at them.
Go ahead, Andy.
Hey, Doug, especially in a small ball lineup, how'd you kind of evaluate the transition game? And I guess how important will that speed and transition be as the season kind of comes around?
I think it's crucial, to be honest with you, and it's not going to be a traditional 1955 Dean Smith, North Carolina break where you're reversing it through a trail and sealing across and back screening and doing all that fun stuff that was when you have two bigs. But it's more of a bust out type team. And so we do obviously have a primary handler in Maya Taylor and Annie, and they're great point guards. But we also have two other bust out dribblers that can lead a break. And so in Rakia Jackson and Jerkayla, they're really good at making decisions. So that floor gets spaced in a different way. And a lot of people like to get two back in their conversion defense. And so you're trying to figure out who your matchup is, who's the ball, and there's a different person bringing the ball up, off of these offensive rebounds. And we just need to space quicker and earlier to maximize the amount of space that we're going to have within a possession.
You can go ahead, Robbie.
Hey, Coach. Danae Carter got in there and got a lot of minutes tonight and just looked really effective on the defensive end. Such a long, athletic player, and it looked like she was really disruptive out there and comfortable, too, for the most part. How did you assess how she kind of carried herself on both ends tonight in her first real college game?
Yeah, I thought she was outstanding for where she is today. And I thought she did a really good job in our scrimmage that we had last week. And she has some versatility because she can guard some bigger people that we need, but she also has the quickness to guard some of the smaller drivers, perhaps in this league. So she can play a post player and then also the perimeter players. And I think we are definitely in need to develop her along the season, but she is a nice surprise. And you never know when the lights come on. Some players get a little bit slower. They start to think too much. They put too much weights on their shoulders and weighs them down. And she's just the opposite. She gets a little bit quicker. She's a great practice player, but when the lights go on, she just has a little extra burst and she doesn't get phased.
If I can follow up just on the game itself and what you saw, you haven't had a chance to watch the film or anything like that, but just from what you saw from the bench, you haven't had a whole lot of time with this team so far in preparation for these ball games, but were you pleased with how you put in the game plan and how how they were able to come out there and execute it?
Yes, I was. And again, we keep things pretty simple. So it was definitely more about us than our opponent. And the things that we cared about, I thought we won the games within a game, an assist to turnover ratio, hitting some open men, spacing the floor, and then defensively, which we've struggled in the last couple of weeks. In the last 3 days, we've made some gains. And so we really wanted to make sure that we had some carryover on that. And I thought with that first unit and a half, they did a really good job of sitting down and defending and not doing anything crazy, not fouling, but being disruptive and playing some sound basketball.
All right, Theo, you want to go ahead?
Sure, Coach. Rukia, with the big game that she had tonight, what do you think about her performance tonight, and what can she do for this team all season?
Yeah, well, there's no surprise. She's going to be a focal point, not only for us, but for everybody else's defense. So the last thing that we want to do is have her just isolated offensively in a particular spot. We have to be able to move her around and play off of other people. And she is such a weapon. And where I think that, and I don't even know if you saw it quite tonight, where her game has developed so much is as a physical poster. She gets to where she wants to go. She can get to the front of the rim. If you want to take that away, she's going to dribble drop. She has worked extremely hard on her inside out threes, and she is sticking those at a very good rate. And even if it doesn't go in, she's not bothered. She knows she's put the work in and that they're right shots. And so, yeah, she's very valuable. And the nice thing is that we have some guards that know how to play this game of basketball, so we can spread it, we can move her around. So you can't just isolate it. It'll be hard defensively just to pick on her and put two people on her and a man and a half.
All right, we got time for a couple more. We'll go to Stefan and then we'll finish it up with Andy. Stefan, go ahead.
Doug, it seems like the guards were pretty involved in terms of rebounding. I'm assuming you'd want that with a smaller team. And how do you, I guess, balance, trying to get them in there for the boards, but also, wanting to push and transition as well?
Well, I mean, if I would be excited about rebounding too, if the coach told me I could just bust out and get that dribble and go get a layup. And so they're pretty quick. They have a nose for the ball. And so they can rebound out of their area, which is crucial because it's no secret. We're small. We're very small. And so if you're going to be that, you need to be a little bit disruptive, but you have to run down those loose balls. We're going to lose some of the battles just because of height, and we have to keep that close, but we just have to be incredibly scrappy to run those balls down. And then if they get it and they have some space, they want to be able to push that thing ahead and we can get a transition game going.
Hey, Doug.
Andy, finish up.
Yeah, you mentioned Rukia's versatility. I guess how much confidence do you have in her ability to kind of be, I guess, the de facto five, if we want to call it, in like a 4-guard set? I mean, is that something you expected to run kind of pretty frequently with her?
Well, it's definitely a possibility. I mean, she's one of our best post-up players. We have a couple small guards that are incredibly, are really growing as post-up players for inside out. I don't know how this team's going to grow. And again, we've kind of formed some borders in there of how we want to play, how we want to pass the ball, maybe how we want to create space. But as the pieces keep on growing and developing, there's going to be some things out there that I never thought we could do. We just got to keep watching and developing and get them to their best most often. So there'll be some times where Rukia will be a quote 5. It'll look like she's a 5, but really everybody posts, everybody shoots threes, and everybody tries to get to their best most often to bring out the best in others.
Thanks, Coach. That'll be it.